Having your drywall get damaged is just part of life, but if you know how to repair it, it can make all the difference. And in this video, I'm going to share one of the best tricks to get the job done that doesn't require any sandpaper and it completely eliminates the dust. First, you'll need something to patch the hole with, and when you go to the store, you're going to see a million different products, but my advice is skip all this fancy stuff. You only need one product, and that's joint compound. Don't be fooled by the name. You can use this to fill holes, do seams, or any other kind of wallboard repair that you'll need. It dries as hard as a rock, and with the method I'm going to show you, it won't create any dust at all. Now grab a bucket, and you're going to put in a gallon or two of clean, warm water. And now the secret to making this trick work is that we're going to be using a sponge, but the two yellow ones are called sanding sponges. Cheap, and they're completely reusable. And if you don't want to buy anything, or you're doing a real small repair, a clean dish sponge like this will work just fine. And the only difference between the two is that one's got these bigger pores, and this one's a lot smoother. Now I find this smooth one gives me a much finer finish. They've also each got this rough side that you can use for huge jobs, but you're never going to use that for this type of repair. I'm going to start off with this larger area. This is pretty typical. Something hit the wall in two places. Now you want to start cleaning out anything that's loose, and now just apply the joint compound. I want to connect the two areas so that I can smooth them out together. And if you're repairing a hole that's really deep like this, you're never going to be able to do it in just one pass. Start with a thin application like this, and then just let it dry overnight. Or if you're in a real rush, you can go ahead and grab a hairdryer and run it back and forth over the area until it's completely dry. All repair products are going to shrink down when they dry, so it's important that you go ahead and put in a second application to smooth things out. And here I'm also starting to spread the compound between the two holes so that I can make this as one solid repair. Now when you're just starting off, you're never going to do a perfect job, and using this repair method, it doesn't really matter because all that extra compound is not going to create any dust or extra sanding. And I can usually do most repairs with two applications, but if it's bigger or more complicated, it's okay to do a third. Once everything's completely dried, grab a piece of cardboard or something to protect the floor, along with that bucket of water and your sponge. The goal here is to get a damp sponge, so put it into the bucket and then wring any excess water out. Start wiping the wall with the sponge. That sponge is going to act like sandpaper, but it's not going to create any dust. And at first you might not think anything's happening, but keep wiping with that damp sponge. The water in the sponge makes it break down a bit, kind of like it's melting. And as that happens, you're going to notice that the sponge gives you more resistance, and that's when you want to put it back into the bucket and wring it out. And then just keep going back and forth until the repair is totally smooth. And when you do this method, you not only save the dust, it's also super fast. I did this whole area in less than 1 minute. And remember, the goal here is to have the repaired area be as smooth as possible with the wall. If you kept going nuts with the sponge, you could actually remove all the compound completely. And you've got about 2 tablespoons of drywall dust in this bucket of water, but it's completely non-toxic. But if it gets into the air, it can actually cause a lung disease called silicosis. Now I just need to grab my roller and repaint the area. If you want this repair to be totally invisible, you're never going to be able to cover it with just a single coat of paint. That compound will suck up that first coat, and it creates what kind of looks like a dry spot. And once your second coat of paint is dried, you should be able to stand back and hopefully not be able to see the repair at all. And small repairs like this are even easier, and this is where you can use your dish sponge. Start by using the same joint compound, and when you're doing small ones like this, you can often get them done with just a single application. Once you're happy with the coverage, make sure to let everything dry completely, then go ahead and grab your dish sponge. And now the process is exactly the same as the larger repair. You're going to dip that sponge into the water, wring it out and make sure that it's damp, and then go back and forth smoothing out the repair. And now you just need to repaint the area, and if it's small enough you can go ahead and use a brush, but you're almost always going to get a better finish if you use a roller. And once that second coat of paint had dried, this repair was looking good. You can't see any evidence of the repair at all, and that's exactly what you want. So if you've got drywall in your house that you need to fix, but you didn't want to deal with sandpaper and the dust, this is a great way to get the job done. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already for more videos coming up.